love you. Yeah, I've gotta. Well, hello, Diamonds. Welcome back to the Sunshine State, and I am delighted you joined me. Your host that's always doing the most. I am Bronze Beauty, here on GKI Radio. Tonight, here on Health, Love, and Hot Topics, we have two wonderful special guests of mine, a couple that will tell it how it is when it comes to real love. I know that's right, baby. Some of you take love for granted and wonder why things just don't work out. Bronze is definitely new to this love thing, new marriage, I would say. On that note, so I'll allow you what I call wisdom to kick in and teach our folk a little something about making love last. You heard me? Before we get into our show, I definitely like to take the opportunity because it's in my spirit to ask everyone to keep those prayers going up for those who may have recently mourned the loss of a significant other. I'm sure this is not easy, but remember your vows and know you will get through this. I love you, especially this time for Mrs. and Mr. Leaks. Before we go strong, I'd like to first take this opportunity to say thank you, Father, that you are and always will be my light and salvation. Y'all know how much I love you, my bronze beauties. Couldn't do it without you. Last but not least, our main man, keeping things straight and in check. Let's give it up for God King Images. You all are very special and dear to me. Later on in the show, I have a time set aside where you diamonds have the opportunity to ask Bronze. If you want to be heard, just call me. Let them know this is for Bronze Beauty. State your name, where you're from, and any question that you have for me. Hunty, my light is always on. Call me at 407-476-9059. If you didn't get that, 407-476-9059. Well, before we get started, it's time to take a quick commercial break. But we return, our special guest will be joining us here with me, Bronze B. We'll be right back.
It's clear, you want to know good. Hide behind sheets in them woods. I have you running like Hitler, lost in the wrong hood.
Welcome back tonight. I have a couple from Wichita Falls, Texas. Yes, honey. Now, you know what they say, don't mess with Texas, but tonight I'm messing with y'all know who to find out what this love thing is all about, Texas style, okay? Without further ado, I have joining me tonight, Ray and Edith Dycks. So, honey, tonight we're going to be down with the Dycks. Show them some love. Yes. What's up, fam? What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Y'all looking all happy and glowing.
Hey.
Now, I can tell the love is there up in Texas, honey. Bring some of that down here in Florida, in that Sunshine State. All right, now, let's dive right on into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Edith Dycks. I'm from Lubbock, Texas. I'm recently resided here in Wichita Falls.
I'm Willie Dycks. I'm from Lubbock, Texas, and we live here in Wichita Falls.
Okay, all right. So we got a couple of Texas in the house. You know, our producer's also from H-Town. So we got Texas all up in the house tonight. So I just want to know, my fans definitely want to know how and where did you two meet? How did it happen? How did this love connection get started?
Well, our love connection got started through by me mentoring my wife's son, Chris. I was in the Big Brother, Big Sister program, and I met my wife now through by being Chris's big brother through the Big Brother, Big Sister program and mentoring him as a young man.
Okay. So Edith, I'm going to keep this on Ray. So Ray, you mentioned about, I would say Chris, the son. What was your thoughts?
My thoughts was that I was just meeting a young man to be a part of his life, but in God's plan, he turned the whole thing around, and we started dating one another, enjoying each other's company, and from dating, getting to know Chris as well as our daughter Camille, one thing led to another. We dated for about 5 years, and we've been married for 22 years now.
Okay, two. That's what I'm talking about, honey. So, how does a 7-year-old young man know what's good or what's not good for his mama? That's for
Well,
you, Edith. We'll leave it at you, Ray. Go right ahead. Take it, honey.
well, Chris was the man of the house. I had to ask permission from Chris if it would be okay to date his mom because
Mm.
I had to get to know Chris, Camille, and my wife now, Edith, one-on-one. So I asked permission from Chris, would it be okay for me to take his mom on a date to get to know? He gave me his permission, and then I proceeded in, taking her on dates. But I asked Chris because at that time he was the little man of the house.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. A 7-year-old taking control. Make sure y'all observe them hashtags, honey, because guess what? It will tell it like it is. So, Ray, you have had an impact on the children's life, I see.
I hope I have with God's help and Edith's help.
So at the time, how old were the children? I would say when y'all first met, you began to mentor Chris.
I can't remember the exact age.
And 10.
I just remember Camille was in the 2nd grade and Chris was in the 4th grade. But I can't remember the ages. I just remember the 8 and 10.
Yeah.
8 and 10. Okay.
Okay. So the impact that it had on your life
The
at that
impact
time.
that it had on my life with me being their stepdad. In the beginning, I thought it was going to create problems, but with God's help and the help of my wife, now everything worked out real well. Camille and Chris are responsible young adults, and they know what's right and what's wrong. And with God's help, they're doing real well with their lives.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, Ray, so at that time you were with Chris and you met Edith. What changes did you make considering while you were in her life and Chris' life? And again, you mentioned about the inspiration. So, like I said, what impact did that have on, I like to say, what impact did that have on the health of yourself, meeting someone for the first time, and you in the midst of mentoring a child, as well as a young lady? So you got 3 people you got to satisfy here.
Well, Edith was the first young lady that I ever dated, so I was nervous. I asked people that had already been in the atmosphere of dating, as far as my mom, dad, people within the church. But when it comes down to it, is how did I feel? Because I believe God led me to my wife Edith and to Chris and Camille. So once I got the jitterbugs out, everything was okay. But I had to get to a point to where it didn't really matter what everybody else thought, which I appreciated their input, but the final decision was up to me because it was an all new atmosphere. I never dated, and then asking Edith to be my wife, I never stepped in to actually know what it took to be a husband and a dad. So with God's help, everything turned out good.
So I see you wearing 2 hats. So Edith, Ray has said a mouthful. Ray has some jitterbugs. Now, what did you have in your stomach? Butterflies, jitterbug. What did you have in your stomach?
Well,
This is a lot, honey.
I know at first it was like, oh no. I was still wanting to go and party and everything. And I just wanted someone to be there positive to, take care of Chris, meaning that he didn't have a daddy figure. And so I didn't look at Ray as a boyfriend or anything like that because, hey, I still wanted to keep on moving and grooving. And this man, he came in as, quote, as a church going man. And I'm like, oh no, this man gonna want to change me. And I told him, I said, oh no, we can just be friends.
Okay, how many of us have them?
Yeah, I just wanted to be friends because I had to be friends because I was trusting this man to take my son, to different outings and stuff. But I was just keeping it like that, friendship. And
Okay.
so when he came, I mean, this was like 5 years. And we dated for 5 years. We knew each other. You know, he was going, taking Chris here and there. But at the same token, I was like, I just want to be your friend and let's just keep it like that. But like I
Okay.
said, God had something else planned. Even though our plans a lot of times don't work like God say. And if you start praying and asking, and I had prayed for about 4 years, and I said, God, please send me somebody, but I still wanted to peep and sneak and do the other stuff. But I knew that I wanted a godly husband. So I know, I'm not saying it ain't no godly husband in the club, but I said, So that being said, I went on a date with him, and I kept on telling him, I was pushing him to the curb. I said, When I tried to get a little close, or he tried to get a little close, I said, oh no. I said, I don't think so. But like I said, a lot of times our plans is not our plans. So he's been a good provider, a good husband, and a good friend.
So the impact that he has put in your life as far as your health is, he's definitely made a difference in your life, but I would say all of your lives within this
Yeah,
past within those 5 years.
Yeah, we all had to adapt. We all had to adapt because, like you said, he had friend girls, but he never said I went to the point of asking them to date me.
Okay.
And so the big deal was his mom. And I thought, okay, I have 2 kids. This man have never been married. I have never been married, and he doesn't have any kids. So I'm thinking, what is his parents is going to say? More so of his mom, because Ray was a mama's boy.
Mama's boy.
I mean, a mama's boy. This man, when he would get paid every Friday, he would give his mom a percentage of his check every Friday.
Uh-oh.
So the dad was in the house, him and his mom and dad, they probably was married for like 30 plus years. And I had to adapt to that because I knew that him and his mom was so close. And I thought, oh, I don't know if this is going to work or not. But it did. But first I thought, oh, no, because she even asked when he did propose to me, she said, Edith, can you at least let me keep him for about a year?
Oh, my goodness.
Lord, I know this ain't gonna work. And so she started to, we didn't have a real bad discussion, but I knew that she really loved Ray. She wanted him to be with somebody, but she not at that point of time,
So Ray, you felt maybe at some point in time you might have to split yourself down the middle and share between these 2 ladies. You got a mama and another woman fighting over you. What you got to do? What you gonna do?
Well, but you know what I come to realize is that I was my mom's baby first, and my mom had to adapt to someone else being their baby also. So once we got it to a point to where my mom understood that I'm still her baby, but her baby has to be shared with my girlfriend, which is now my wife. So put it to her that way, it helps her to understand that I could be shared between 2 young ladies, but my place was with my wife.
All right. Now, I tell you what, you just hold on to that thought, honey. Ray and Edith, when we return, I want you to tell my fans all about what love is, being in love, and what it means to you both. Keep shining, keep chiming. We'll be right back. Thanks for coming back, everybody. Now, Ray, you sincerely, you spoke about how you met Edith and that her son, Chris, what exactly made you approach Edith?
What made me approach Edith? There was another young man named Adrian Smith that I was a mentor to as well. And I was real active in the community, picking up children, checking report cards, being active in their lives. And This young man was the first young man that said, Mr. Ray, you do so much for us as young people. When are you gonna find someone to make you happy?
Oh my
You
goodness.
deserve to be happy also. So when he expressed that to me, that's when I started dating. I never dated anyone. Edith was my first young lady that I dated. I took young ladies on outings for us to the movies, but not to date steady. But one of the things that was a sign for me is that when I would go pick these young people up, I would always carry a notebook. I would always carry a pen. And the first time I met Edith, my notebook, all my paperwork fell out of my hand onto the ground.
Oh my goodness.
I was a nervous wreck. But from that point on, we became best of friends. We became we had so much in common to where I knew this was where God wanted me to be at this time.
Okay, so before we get off into this any deeper, I'm gonna definitely let you come back to what you were talking about in our last segment. But Edith, when did you feel Ray was your possible soulmate? Now tell us, it's been 22 years. What is it? Yeah, it's been 22 years.
Well, when I realized, I kept trying to tell him, hey, every little thing I was telling him to leave, we don't need to be together, because I still wanted I wanted a good man, but I still wanted to be out there creeping.
Creeping. Uh-oh.
So I was like, hey.
Creep.
Yes. I said, hey, let's just be friends. And then I'm not playing. God kept whooping me, saying, you asked for, as that says in the Bible, be careful what you ask for. Because I asked for a godly man for myself and for my kids. And so I thought, Lord, I don't want this. Let him just go home and do him, and I'll do me.
Okay.
But guess what? I knew that time passed on, and God kept whooping me, saying, you better get this. This is the man that I'm sending for you. So it took a little while, but I knew all along that God had sent Ray to me, because the type that we got along just fine. I mean, we even went on trips and stuff before we was just girlfriend and boyfriend. So we was acting like husband and wife, but not with all the other things that comes with
you doing that roll without the papers. Okay.
Without the papers and without the bed.
Oh, okay.
So I thought, wait a minute now, Lord, you want me to get rid of some stuff. So I had to get rid of a lot of stuff compared to get with this man, because you got to understand, he had never dated. So I'm like, wait a minute, he ain't never dated. Lord, I'm gonna have to give up some stuff. So guess what? I had to give up a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So it was good stuff that I had to get rid of, because I needed to get rid of to get this man.
Well, I'm gonna say that leads to the next thing I was gonna say. Then, what is it like to truly be in love and have them challenges?
Ooh, I think mine was more so a challenge than Ray. His probably was with the kids and getting to know me, but you have to understand, I had 2 kids, and Ray hadn't had no kids, no just steady dating. So I think I had to learn to lose a lot of stuff that I didn't need.
Okay.
Where he really didn't. He just had to come on and say, okay, I have to, I'm sure it was scary, because he had to take care. He's coming into with my life with 2 kids and a girlfriend.
Okay.
And so I think that was the real big thing that my challenge was more than his.
Okay,
Don't you agree?
Yes.
So Ray, even though it's been 22 years, do you think you know everything about Edith, your wife?
No, each and every day you grow and you learn something new from one another. If it's the character, their personality, their dislikes, their likes, each and every day you challenge yourself to learn something new about an individual because we're two different human beings. So every day I'm learning something new from her. I can see a different angle, different side of her, for as that she may not recognize, and I can see God doing His work within her life each and every day.
And see, that's the wonderful thing. Now, Edith, honestly, how do you express your love for Ray?
Oh, it's we don't got enough time to tell y'all how much, but I think I hope that I've been a good partner, a good wife, a good best friend. And a lot of times I guess I do little special little things. Sometimes, him and I guess we both does, with us just being together, just we're empty nest now because we don't have no one, just him and I. So now we got to get used to us, just me and him now.
Okay.
So now we just like almost starting all back over again, like, getting to know each other because it was someone in the house, but now it's just him and I. So we'd be like, wait a minute, we're going to have to do this thing all back over again. But it's a fun thing because now we don't know, we're like little teenagers.
Well, I say when you become an empty nester, let Bronze tell it, honey. If ain't nobody around, just do it all over again. Just run around as naked as you want to. Okay. And that takes me that takes me right into my next thing. What do either one of you do daily that keeps the love light glowing?
One of the things that you do first is you bring that person before God, thanking God that He allowed this individual to be a part of your life and never forgetting to tell that person that you love and that you appreciate them every day. Love is not just lip service, love is action. So
Right
when
now.
we say we love someone, we can't do it in only lip service. We have to show that we love that person through our actions. And with myself as well as my wife, we do that daily. Never go to bed angry, never wake up angry, but thanking God for the queen that He's allowed to be a part of my life. And I'm her king and she's my queen.
All
And
right now.
continue to lift one another up before God and realize that we're human beings. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to say things that we don't need to say at times. But at the same time, bring that relationship before God and He will help you in those areas that you struggle with.
And Edith, this is kind of directed towards you. Sometimes as queens, we'll play a little spade here. Sometimes as queens, we got to go through some jokers in order to get to that king. Am I right?
You're right. And I had I almost had 5 or 6 packs
Jokers.
of jokers.
Well, I tell you, we are just about in need of a quick commercial break. But when we return, we want the Dykes to tell us how to keep that fire on the flame. To sit back, and I want you to relax and listen to the sweet sound of Jeffrey Osborne, Worth It All.
Well, in the dark, so I lost all my friends, and in the end, all I had was you.
You on that white horse, I'm not Cinderella. You're not my Prince Charming. There is no forever,
All right, now. So welcome back, everybody. We're so glad that you could join us. We're going to continue I would say we're going to continue where we left off because this was getting kind of good. So relationship with family of you both. Have you ever had any issues? This is for both of you. Okay. Have you ever had any issues with the family on either side that could have impacted your marriage besides the fact you mentioned that Ray was a mama's boy?
Well, from my standpoint on that, but even before I met Edith, I knew part of her family. I had already met her mom. I knew one of her brothers. I knew her aunt because I used to work at United Supermarket. So I met a lot of people. And Edith, in the background, she said she knew me, but I was a little boy. So her mom said that young man there would be a good person for you to talk to. But she said I was a little boy. And how I know she had her eyes on me, even before I went to her front door, she said, I remember when you used to wear those green khakis. I remember when you used to wear those suits. So she had her eye on me a long time, and I never recognized, but I already knew Mama Francis. I knew her Aunt Eva. I knew her brother Leslie. I knew part of the family even before I introduced myself to her. So when I finally got introduced to the mom, I already knew mom. So I felt comfortable with everybody. And the biggest thing is that with family, if you treat that individual with love and respect, family will notice that and appreciate that. But if you mistreat and don't treat that family member right, they'll notice that also. But they knew that in our dating relationship that I love some Edith and Edith loves some Ray, and I love Krista and Camille as well.
Okay, look at all that love up in the house, honey. That's what I'm talking about. So, Edith, 22 years ago versus now. How do you plan to get to 25, 40, 50 years of marriage?
First, I plan on for God to keep us for another 20 plus years.
Mhm.
And I think how we can get to that is putting God in the center each day, also communicating with one another more. And I think that when you're in a marriage for 22 years, don't think it don't stay the same when you first get married. Your first 5 years, 22 years is you still don't know that person because you change. You get older and you change. Things happen. You have death. You have job loss. You have all kinds of things that goes on with these 22 years that we've been together. And so I'm thinking that I pray and ask God every day to bless us and show us what He wants us to do as a couple and as an individual. Because, like I said, it's not, don't think that everything is peachy every day because it's not. We go through, he have mood swings, I have mood swings. But you know what we do? He goes to one room and I go to the next room. And then 5 minutes later, if we're going to hurt one of each other's feelings, one of us going to come back and say, hey, I'm sorry. Or most of the time he would do something, bring me just a cup of water or something, to say that, hey, I'm sorry. And that's how we do it. And so I'm thinking it's been working by God. It's not him and I, it's God that's helping us. Because like I said, we are two different people. We do two different, when you've been together for 22 years, don't think that you know everything about your partner because you don't.
I understand that.
But if you put God first and in the center and be true, he would definitely do it because he have with us. And like I said, don't think everything, we have had our ups and downs. But through it all, God have been there with us to help us. So I'm thinking that if 22 years, I hope he blesses with 22 more years.
So, with that being said, Edith, they say the key to a man's stomach is a key to a man's heart is his stomach. I need to know, honey, what does Ray like to eat? What is his favorite food?
I want to say his favorite food is a hamburger or chicken. Let me say he got two: a hamburger and chicken.
Because I know y'all be cooking up in Texas, so Ray, you got a variety thing to choose from. It's got to be something that she cooks. Should I ask you this? It's something that she cooks that you love.
Well,
Let it throw down in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
hamburger and chicken is probably at the top of my list. But
Okay.
on my birthday, there's only one request that I always ask for Edith on my birthday, and that's chicken and beef fajitas and brownies. And she's been cooking that for me, and chicken quesadillas. She's been cooking those items for me for probably 10, 15 years on my birthday. Chicken, beef fajitas, chicken quesadillas, and brownie. And that's the only time. That's the only time of the year that I eat those things is on my birthday. But chicken, hamburger, and those quesadillas and the fajitas are probably right there at the top.
And don't forget that brownie, huh?
And don't forget the
So, Ray, what makes or keeps Edith happy?
What makes and keep Edith happy is just me affirming that everything is going to be okay, because we've been through so much for as loss of life, loss of employment, even though our kids are still with us, we've lost our children because now they're on their own now. So now we have to readjust to time with one another. So, and with that being said, just reaffirming that no matter how dark the days may look or how it looks like, that God is in control, and that if we love and we lift one another up and be there for one another, that we can make it through anything together. And then also not trying to change a person, accepting that person for who they are and where they are at this time in their life. This young lady that I married 20 plus years ago is not the same individual. I'm not the same individual 20 years ago. Each year we've changed. Some things we had a burning desire for, we lost the flame. But in the process, you have to continue to encourage one another, because we're not the same. And anybody that gets married, they can't think that when you met that person that they're going to look and act the same, because as years go by, things will change. But did you marry the person for looks, or did you marry that person because they stole your heart? They got into your mindset. So that's where how you weigh out the difference for us. Is this the person I'm really to be with, or am I not to be with? When that person is on your mind in the morning, throughout the day, at night, when you think alike, you act alike, that's when you know God is in the mix of what needs to be done for your relationship.
Okay, so Edith, I need to know, this is coming from you both, but I'm going to give this to you first. I need one word to describe Ray. One word only. And Ray, you next, so you be thinking of that one word.
One word. Hard. Kind. He's kind.
Kind. Okay. Ray, your turn.
I'll have to say a humble spirit.
Okay, so humble. Well, I tell you what, it's about that time to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, remember, it's a very important segment coming up soon that I have love for you all to participate in. Of course, we've got Ask Bronze coming up anytime, any day. You know to give me a call, 474-769-9059. State your name, where you're originally from, ask a question for Bronze. In the meantime, I want you guys to really think about the difference between, I want you to tell us when we come back, the difference between submission versus commitment. Okay, so I was wanting to know, just sitting here speaking to you both, being in a new marriage myself. This is my second time around, and I want this to be my last and my best time. So coming from 2 years versus 22 years, I mean, you've definitely got 2 decades on me and a lot of people out here that may be recent marriages or even some that are engaged. When it comes to submission, we speak about how the Bible says to submit to your husbands, wives. Okay, the questions for you two are submission versus being treated in any type of way. If Bronze is asking that question correctly. You got an answer for me, Mr. Dycks?
Uh, I believe that submission in a relationship is understanding uh, that person as a human being and a level of respect. You know, the Bible also speaks of us showing honor in that our young ladies are to follow us in the things that are of God. You know, sometimes we as men, we get the big head and we say, hey, it's my way and or no way. But we also have to realize that the ladies that we're leading, we're to be their covering, we're to be their support system, we're to be their encourager. It's not just about making love all the time, it's about making yourself a part of that individual through their thoughts, through encouragement, through support when they have good days. Sometimes they have good days, sometimes they have sad days, sometimes they have hard days where you get to know the interaction with your spouse through by their moods. You know when you need to stay away. You know when you need to remind them that say, "Hey, if you need me, I'm in the other room." But let them have their space,
Okay,
and
space.
letting them have their space. It doesn't mean that you all are at odds against one another, but you respect that individual enough to recognize and understand what they're dealing with. Like with my wife, loss of her mom as well as her dad. As we get closer to those special occasions, my wife's mindset goes into a different type of setting. Whereas her husband, I have to recognize that she tends to get into a mood to where she just wants to be by herself, and I understand that, and I'll say, okay, if you need me, I'm in the other room. Making yourself available doesn't mean that you always have to be in that individual space, but letting them know, hey, baby, if you need me, I'm in the next room. I
I know that's
understand.
right.
I understand what you're dealing with. I understand how you're feeling right now. I can't take away the hurt that she feels within her heart, but I can make myself available through by my words and through by my actions towards her. So that's submission.
Well, all right. Let's get ready. Either this is going to be for you. I got a guest on the phone. It's time, everybody, for what? Ask Bronze. Who do we have today on the line?
This is LG. I'm calling from Orlando, Florida. This message is for the Bronze Beauty. I've been in a relationship for 2.5 years. Lately, things have gotten rocky, and I wanted to know, how do you find the strength to fight for my relationship when I'm ready to quit? Thank you.
So, Miss Dykes, tell her. Lay it down. Or she talking about throwing in the towel. She talking about giving up. She talking about quitting.
And they've been together for 2 years.
2.5 years is what she said.
And is it she want to throw in the towel, or they both want to throw in the towel?
It sounds like she's possibly thinking about giving up. She was the one that called, so we're going to kind of target this toward her, see if we can answer her question, because they both could be listening. But since she made the phone call, we want to see if this, if we can get an understanding for her.
Okay. I want to know, have they tried to go, or have she tried to go to counseling, or have she tried to talk to someone, in the family to see, I don't know what's going on. She just says she's ready to throw in the towel, but is he a nice man? Have he been there for you, within these 2 years, or have you been knowing him longer than 2 years? What is the reason why you just don't see that you ready to just throw in the towel?
Okay, so of course, show is if the show is going on, she will listen. But basically, like what you're saying is, try to see if you can work it out and try to get some counseling.
Correct. Yes.
So coming from my side, this is always the thing for me. If you give up before you win, you're a quitter. Okay. A quitter never wins, a winner never quits. And of course, what that means is don't give up on marriage. Don't throw in the towel. Because like I say, after 2.5 years, you ask me, just like they said about a child is the terrible twos. They tell me the first 2 to 3 years, I'm experiencing it myself, is the hardest years of marriage. Do you agree, Dykes?
I agree. You're right. I definitely agree.
Well, I want to tell you, we are delighted to truly yet hate to say goodbye. We've been down with the Dykes while they shared the love of how the bonds have been staying strong for 22 years. Mr. and Mrs. Dykes, Ray and Edith, anything you'd like to tell our fans on love?
With me, with love, with young people as well as middle age as well as old, our words have power. So we have to be careful how we choose our words. We have to speak faith in the individuals that we say we love and we care about. Let them know that, hey, no matter what's going on or how hard it may get, that, hey, God is with us and we're with one another. And with us being together, there's nothing that we can't overcome with God's help. And just be yourself and appreciate the time that you all spend together as a couple, because time, it doesn't wait for anyone. So that's one of the things that's real dear to me, is always telling my wife that I love her and that I appreciate her for the things that she does, because I know God has placed her in my life. So.
And so, Edith, how do you feel about that? Your input on that? Well, what I would say, what should you say? What would you say a new couple should do that may be thinking about throwing in the towel, like we said before?
Throwing in the towel. I'm telling you, I've said that many a times in with our relationship. But you need to forgive that person if it's forgivable. Everything God tells us to forgive. And if you show your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend respect, that's the main thing is in a relationship, is respect. Once you lose that respect for one another, your relationship everything start going bad in it. You have to definitely keep God first. You have to talk, communicate is the key thing. No one is perfect. And so that being said, we have to definitely get to see what is the real problem. If it's adultery, or if that person gonna win and slept with somebody or something like that. It's an individual thing. And the person that was talking, that came in and said she's ready to throw in the towel, we don't know what's going on, but it must be so terrible that she's saying that I just can't take it no more.
And she may have just needed to hear from someone else, like I say, of yours, like you two with experience. But we're gonna go right into the quote of the day. 3 things that, and before I say that, my uncle used to always say, Ray, piggybacking off what you said, keeping a still tongue. Sometimes it's best to keep a still tongue means to watch what you say. Because guess what? I'm a living witness. You can be impacted by running your mouth. So, quote of the day, 3 things that is necessary daily to keep marriage strong: communication, negotiation, and respect. Marriage is not a self-employed job. It takes 2.
Amen.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Dykes, we thank you. I thank you. Bronze Beauty thanks you from the bottom of my heart for joining us tonight, all the way from Texas.
Thank you,
right
GK Radio.
I love you both. And remember to join me.
Smooches.
Thank you. Remember to join me, Bronze Beauty, every Monday night here at 8 p.m. on GKI Radio. Until the next time, keep shining and keep chiming. What you say, Edith?
Smooches.
Smooches.